This is Kojo Tetteh. At just 12 years old, he had been through more pain than many people face in a lifetime. Born and raised on the streets of Accra by his mentally ill father, Kojo had no mother, no home, and no one to fight for his future. He only spent 2 years in school before dropping out because the one man paying his fees suddenly disappeared. Hopeless, forgotten, yet incredibly smart. But one day, everything changed. He met Kwabena, the son of a billionaire businesswoman, studying in one of the best schools money could buy, yet struggling to learn. And it was Kojo, the barefoot boy from the gutter, who became his secret teacher. But when Kwabena's powerful mother discovered a homeless boy teaching her son under a mango tree, what she did next left the whole community speechless. "Dirty boy, I say leave here." A spray of spit landed just inches from Kojo's bare feet. He didn't move. He'd grown used to insults. The market woman's voice rang out again. "AI. Is this a rubbish dump? You and that madman better shift before I pour this dirty water on you." Kojo tightened his grip on his father, Kweku, who sat barefoot beside the gutter at Kenshi Market, mumbling to himself and tracing shapes in the dust with a trembling finger. His torn shirt hung loosely, exposing scars and grime, but Kweku didn't notice. He was lost in his own world. People passed, some slowed down, some stared. One woman paused, shook her head, and kept walking. No one helped. No one ever did. Kojo was 12, but the streets had aged his soul. He didn't cry anymore when people called him son of a madman, gutter boy, or cursed child. What hurt more was the pity, the kind that came with a shake of the head, but never a hand of help. His father used to be strong and handsome, or so Kojo imagined. On rare good days, Kweku would sing old high-life tunes and call Kojo my king. But those moments were like shooting stars, brief and gone before you could touch them. Most days, Kweku didn't even know where he was. He'd shout at his reflection in puddles, throw stones at shadows, or run from things no one else could see. Kojo had no mother, no family photo, no one to tell him who he resembled. "Papa, where is my mother?" he once asked. Kweku looked at him with distant eyes and said, "I think she is the rain." Yes, the rain. They slept under a broken kiosk near Circle. If it rained, they got soaked. If it was hot, they baked. Their mattress was a flattened cardboard box, their blanket was silence. Kojo didn't dream anymore, survival was the only language he knew. Each morning began the same, Kweku waking up screaming, swinging his arms at the air. Kojo would hold him tight and whisper, "It's me, Papa. It's me." Then he'd try to clean him with a rag and some water from a public tap. Then they would go to their spot to beg. Sometimes people dropped coins. Mostly, they dropped insults. "Papa, please, don't talk too much today," Kojo whispered one morning, adjusting his father's shirt. But Kweku suddenly jumped up and shouted at a passing taxi, "Give me back my wings. You left them in your boot." The driver honked and sped away. Kojo's cheeks burned. Across the street, a neat schoolboy with a lunchbox stared for a moment, then whispered to a friend and laughed. Kojo looked down at his dusty legs, chipped toenails, and dry hands. His stomach growled, but he ignored it. Hunger was nothing new. Still, deep inside, he dreamed. Dreamed of sitting in a classroom again. Dreamed of wearing a uniform and writing in a real exercise book. Dreamed of someone calling his name without insult. But who would send the son of a madman to school? That afternoon, it started with a plate of wache. Kojo was crouched beside his father at Kenshi Market, his stomach twisting in hunger. Kweku was having one of his quiet days, rocking back and forth like a broken fan, eyes far away. That's when Kojo noticed her, a woman behind a steaming watches stand, with 2 big aluminium pots, a wooden table, and the smell of shito and fried plantain drifting in the air. She was light-skinned, full-figured, wearing a simple African print dress and headscarf. But her gaze was different, not pity, not disgust, something else. Kojo quickly looked away. He hated being stared at like an animal in a zoo. Minutes later, she crossed the street. "What's your name?" she asked. "Kojo," he mumbled. "Where's your father?" Kojo pointed to Kweku, who was now singing to an empty Fanta bottle. Her eyes softened. "He's sick, eh?" Kojo nodded. "What did you eat today?" Kojo stayed silent. She held out a takeaway pack. "Here. Eat." Kojo hesitated. On the streets, strangers didn't give food for free without wanting something. "Don't worry," she smiled, "I'm not like the others." That was the first time he met Auntie Monsa. The wache was hot, the rice soft, the shito spicy in a way that warmed his whole chest. He hadn't eaten fried plantain in months. That evening, she came back with bottled water and soap. "What's your story, boy?" she asked, washing his hands. Kojo told her about his father's illness, the insults, the school he once peeped into, the hunger, the dreams. She wiped his hands with a handkerchief. "Tomorrow, come to my shop. Sweep, help me serve, and I'll feed you. Deal?" Kojo nodded so hard he nearly fell over. The next day, Kojo came. He swept, washed plates, served customers, and watched Auntie Monsa work with quiet authority. One afternoon, he sat under the table, using a stick to write numbers in the dust. Auntie Monsa bent down. "Where did you learn that?" "From watching the school near the Trotro station," Kojo replied. "I memorized what the teacher said." "You mean you've never really gone to school?" "I went once, for 3 weeks. A man from the church paid, but then he moved away." The next week, she brought him a brand new exercise book and pencils. 3 weeks later, Kojo stood inside a dusty public school classroom, wearing an oversized second-hand uniform from Kantamanto Market. It was too big, but it felt like a crown. "Kojo, behave yourself," Auntie Monsa warned. "Make me proud. I don't have money to waste." "Yes, Auntie," he said, holding his book like treasure. The first day was strange. Children stared. Some giggled. But when the teacher asked a question, Kojo answered before anyone else. He was smart. Too smart. He answered questions older kids couldn't, memorized poems after hearing them once, wrote neatly and quickly. When the headmistress asked, "Who trained this boy?" Kojo always said, "Auntie Monsa." After school, he'd return to the wache stand. His reward wasn't just food, it was Auntie Monsa's approving nod and the words, "Good boy." For the first time in his life, Kojo felt seen. Then one evening, Auntie Monsa came home with a white envelope. "My sister in the UK has finally processed my papers," she said, tears in her eyes. "After 7 years, I can go." Kojo's heart leapt. "So, we are traveling?" She shook her head. "No, Kojo. Just me." "What about me?" he asked quietly. "I've paid your fees up to the end of this term. Maybe God will send someone else to help you. I've done what I can." 3 weeks later, she was gone. No goodbye. One morning, The headmistress called him in. "We are sorry, Kojo. Without fees, you can't remain." He stood outside the school gate for hours, hoping she'd come back. She never did. With no school and nowhere safe to sleep, Kojo drifted back to the streets. The old kiosk where he and his father once stayed now had a drunkard living in it, a man who chased him away with a broken belt. The bakery corner where Kweku used to beg was now taken over by two glue-sniffing boys who would fight anyone that came near. The only thing that hadn't changed was his father, still talking to the air, still barefoot, still lost in another world. Kojo's heart was heavy, but his mind was still sharp. Each morning, he wandered to the back fence of Royal Gold Academy, a private school in East Legon that looked like a palace from his side of the world. The walls were cream and gold, the windows sparkled, and the students wore blazers with neat name tags. Kojo didn't belong there, but that didn't stop him. He found a mango tree near a classroom window that was always slightly open. Standing on an old cement block, he could see the chalkboard and hear the teacher's voice. Clutching a tiny pencil stub, he wrote on scraps of carton and paper he scavenged from the roadside. Every day, he stayed until the bell rang, then slipped away before anyone noticed. But one Monday, Kojo wasn't fast enough. The teacher spotted him. "Hey! Who's that?" she barked. The class turned. A boy sneered, "It's that crazy boy from the roadside." Laughter erupted. The teacher stormed to the window. "What do you want here? Who sent you?" I just want to learn." "Please, I won't disturb anyone," Kojo said quietly. "Go and tell your parents to pay school fees first, if you even know who they are." Her words stung. Kojo turned and ran. But the next day, he was back, hiding again under the mango tree. This time, a boy's voice came from behind him. You're the boy they always chase away, right?" Kojo spun around. Standing there was a boy about his age, in a spotless uniform, hair neatly trimmed, name tag reading Kwabena Owusu. "I wasn't doing anything wrong," Kojo said. "I was just listening." "Why?" Kwabena asked. "Because I want to learn." "You don't go to school?" Kojo shook his head. "My father's sick. We live by the market." Kwabena looked down at his polished shoes. "People laugh at me too," he admitted. "They say I'm dumb, that my mom pays for me to pass. I don't understand anything they teach in class." Kojo was surprised. "You? But you're in one of the best schools." Kwabena shrugged. "I sit alone during lunch. I don't have friends here." They stared at each other for a moment. Then Kwabena sat on the grass. "Do you want to sit?" Kojo hesitated, but lowered himself to the ground. Kwabena pulled out a math textbook. "Can you help me with this? I don't get it." Kojo looked at the page, fractions. "Okay, when you see 1/2 and 1/4, they don't have the same bottom number." Within minutes, Kwabena was solving problems he had struggled with all term. "I get it," he gasped. "I finally understand." Kojo smiled shyly. "You're not dumb." Kwabena grinned. "And you're not just smart, you're amazing." They met under the mango tree every school day after that. Kojo came barefoot in his faded brown shorts, clutching a plastic bag of torn paper scraps. Kwabena came in his crisp uniform with a lunchbox from the cook. Under that tree, they laughed, shared stories, and learned. But they kept it a secret, no teachers, no classmates, and definitely not Kwabena's mother, Madam Serwaa Owusu, one of Ghana's most respected and feared businesswomen. Until the day everything changed. It was a Friday. Kojo was late because his father had wandered into the road chasing an empty sachet of water, thinking it was a bird. Kojo had to pull him away before a trotro hit him. When he finally reached the mango tree, Kwabena was there, but across the field, something unusual was happening. A convoy of shiny black SUVs rode into the compound. Security guards straightened their uniforms. Teachers froze mid-sentence. Students whispered. Kwabena's face tensed. "Oh no, my mom's here." Kojo's eyes followed his gaze, and his heart sank. A tall, elegant woman in a perfectly tailored Kent jacket and gold heels stepped out of the LED SUV. Her presence filled the air before she even spoke. Madam Serwaa Owusu. "I have to go," Kojo whispered, but it was too late. "Kwabena." Her voice carried across the lawn as she approached, two assistants following. "What are you doing here?" "I was having lunch," Kwabena replied. "With who?" Her eyes shifted to Kojo, barefoot, dusty, clutching his plastic bag. "Who is this?" "This is my friend," Kwabena said firmly. "His name is Kojo. He teaches me." "You're what?" "He's the reason I've been doing well in school. He explains things better than anyone else here." Madam Serwaa looked at Kojo. "Where are your parents, boy?" Kojo's voice was small. I don't know my mother, madam. My father is sick. He begs near Kenshi Market. We have no home." "You're not in school?" Kojo shook his head. "No one to pay fees." Kwabena gripped his hand tightly. Madam Serwaa's eyes softened slightly. "Take me to your father." Kojo stepped back. "Please, madam, don't punish him. He doesn't know I come here. He's not well. If I stop coming, I'll stay away, just don't hurt him." "I'm not here to hurt you," she said gently. "I just want to see him." Kwabena looked at his mother. "Promise you won't send Kojo away." She looked at them both for a long moment. "I promise." 30 minutes later, the convoy pulled into a narrow street near Kenshi. Flies buzzed, smoke from a chop bar hung in the air. Kojo pointed. "That's him." Kweku sat barefoot on the pavement, rocking back and forth, laughing at nothing. His shirt was torn, his hair matted. Madam Serwaa approached slowly and knelt beside him. "Sir," she said softly. Kweku looked up and muttered, "Did you bring my wings?" Kojo's eyes filled with tears. "I'm going to help him," Madam Serwaa said quietly. "He needs proper care. I know people." "I don't want money," Kojo said. "I just want him to be okay." She turned to her assistant. "Call Dr. Accra at the psychiatric unit. Full treatment. No delays." Then she looked back at Kojo. "And you," she said firmly, "from today, you're not a homeless boy. You're my son now." That night, Kojo slept in a real bed for the first time in his life. The driver had taken him straight from Kenshi to Madam Serwaa's mansion in East Legon. The gates opened to reveal a wide compound with flowers, a fountain, and cars that looked like they belonged in magazines. Inside, the marble floors shone so bright he could see his reflection. The house smelled of lavender and fresh bread. One of Madam Serwaa's maids led him upstairs. "This is your room," she said. Kojo stepped inside and froze. The bed was soft and white, the pillows plump. A desk stood by the window with brand new books, pencils, and crayons. There was even a wardrobe with neatly folded clothes. That night, after a warm bath, he wore pajamas for the first time. As he lay down, the softness of the mattress felt strange, like sleeping on a cloud. He closed his eyes, and for the first time in years, he didn't hear the noise of the streets. Monday morning, Kojo stood in front of a mirror he could hardly believe was his. He was wearing the Royal Gold Academy uniform, navy blazer with gold trim, crisp white shirt, knee tie, and polished shoes. Kwabena stood beside him, grinning. "You look like a different person." Kojo laughed. "I feel like a different person." When they walked into the school compound, students turned. Some whispered, "Is that the boy from outside the wall?" Others stared, wide-eyed. But Kojo didn't care. For the first time, he wasn't peeking in through a window, he was walking through the front gate, head held high. In class, he answered questions confidently, and the teachers noticed. Kwabena sat beside him, copying notes quickly. They weren't just friends anymore. They were brothers. Every Saturday, Madam Serwaa's driver took Kojo to the psychiatric hospital where his father was now receiving treatment. The first time he saw him there, Kweku was cleaner, calmer, and wearing hospital clothes. "Papa," Kojo whispered. Kweku blinked, then slowly smiled. "My king, you came." Kojo's throat tightened. For months, his father had barely recognized him, but now, even if just for a moment, the man he remembered was there. They sat together for hours, Kojo telling him about school, Madam Serwaa, and Kwabena. Sometimes Kweku laughed, sometimes he just listened. Kojo didn't know if his father would ever be fully well again, but he knew he wasn't alone anymore. One evening, Kojo sat under the mango tree in Madam Serwaa's garden, watching the sun dip low over the compound. He thought about the 3 blessings God had given him. Kwabena, the friend who saw his worth. Madam Serwaa, the mother he never had. And his father, still alive, still fighting. Kojo opened his book and began to write, "Kindness can change a life. Never look down on someone because of where they sleep, or what they wear. The person you mock today could be the one to save you tomorrow." Kwabena joined him, sitting cross-legged on the grass. "Ready for tomorrow's math?" he asked. Kojo grinned. "Always." And as they studied under the mango tree, Kojo knew this was only the beginning of his story. Wow! What a twist, right? If you enjoyed this Ghanaian drama and want more exciting stories just like it, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next jaw-dropping episode. Your support helps us keep bringing these stories to life. See you in the next one.